Western.
Yo, Alexander here. Okay. Whoo! I'm gonna take my Worf to the hollow deck. We're gonna fight crime till we can't no more. I'm gonna take my Worf to the hollow deck. We're gonna fight crime till we can't no more. I got Deanna by my side, plus my daddy on his right. Them and me together, we gon' make this town alright. Data got this bugged up, turning to these tough thugs. Now we speaking funny and we're unable to log out. Whoa, Jordy, please do something. Yeah, please do something. My dad is not a merry man. He's not a merry man.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah. Sing with me now. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take my Worf to the hollow deck. We're gonna fight crime till we can't no more. I'm gonna take my Worf to the hollow deck. We're gonna fight crime till we can't no more. No more. Yeah. Hollow decks and drag queens.
How do I follow that? That was Trek on the Tube with Take My Worf. Welcome to Tqif. This is a show about, I don't know, anything. This is something I threw together as a kind of pre-show to Starfleet Boy After Dark. And if you don't know what Starfleet Boy After Dark is, you definitely have to check that out because there's all kinds of shenanigans on the go there. Now, let's take a look in the comments. Oh, we have Starfleet Boy, yay. And then we have Shishan Girl. Yeah, so basically what this is, I'm going to introduce video segments of certain things that interest me and try to get away with not being struck down with copyright. But pretty much everything I use here, I either have permission or it's probably too old to be noticed anyway. One of the first things I wanted to talk about is Worf. Good old Worf. And that's why I led off with that video and I asked Sean could I use that as an opening because Michael Dorn's been talking lately. And he recently brought up again his pitch for a Captain Worf show. Now, this is an article from trekmovie.com. And Michael Dorn basically gives his elevator pitch for a Worf series. And he says, basically, the script I wrote, instead of looking at the Klingon Empire from Starfleet, we look at Starfleet from the Klingon Empire. And it has been going on for decades. The Klingon Empire just can't go on. It's the Russians, basically. And they decide that they have to either die with a sword in their hands and go extinct, or change with the times and become something different. And Worf is the guy that says we have to change with the times. That is the mark of a warrior. And so two things happen. They start letting other races into the Klingon world, and the only way they can do that is by letting in Starfleet officers. That's sort of the way it's done. We'll let in other people, but first Starfleet officers, I guess that's supposed to say, because we understand Starfleet. They're soldiers, we're soldiers. The second thing they have to do is their resources are limited and dwindling because the Klingon universe is just like the Federation. They have planets and worlds and societies that they own, but they do it in a brutal way. And so they have to go out to every one of these worlds and either give them freedom or try to work with them, which is something that's God damn that word. Anathema to Klingons. I've never actually heard that word spoken out loud, so I can't say it. Oops. And since Worf opened his big mouth and said, "This is what we have to do," and then say, "Okay, then you're the guy that has to go out to all these worlds." And every world is different. Some worlds are rebelling, some worlds want to be part of the Klingon Empire, some worlds want to be independent. So every episode is that. And the interviewer asks, "So Worf is no longer part of Starfleet, but a member of the Klingon Defense Force?" And Michael Dorn responds, "Exactly. This is the Klingon Empire. He's a captain aboard a ship." The IKS something? Yeah, I forgot what it is. It's the Vortas or something. Laughs. Then he says, the interviewer says, "It probably has a random apostrophe in there." And Michael Dorn laughs and says, "Exactly. The thing is, Worf is a character that has no fear. We have seen that over the years. I think Star Trek has always liked that about Klingons. What I wrote, it's claustrophobic. It's Shakespearean in its scope. There's assassinations and coups and behind-the-scenes politics going on. It's such a great fit, and it doesn't feel like anything else that's on All Access. It's funny because it's like they are looking for something that they've totally ignored this easy path. And they've totally ignored this easy path. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's dead or not. I have the script ready. I don't know if it's dead or not. I have a script ready. It's on my computer and ready to be emailed to anybody that's interested, but we'll see. They have their own take on these things, and we'll leave it at that. I don't think CBS or Paramount Plus at this point, I don't think they're ever going to want a Worf show where he's not the captain of the Enterprise. And I think the only way they're going to get him to sign on, I guess, because he really doesn't like wearing that makeup, by the way, is to offer him his own series and pay him well. I mean, the fans would absolutely love it. Just, you thought people went crazy when they heard about Patrick Stewart coming back? Just imagine the reaction if Michael Dorn was coming back. And even if they did give him this show where it's all about Klingons and the humans are kind of like the alien characters, I would be cool with that. I don't care. Somebody else could be the captain of the Enterprise, E or F or whatever. But this brings me back to a challenge that the Tex-Trek channel, hosted by Steve Fothery, they put out a challenge last year to pitch your own Trek series. And of course, I went automatically to Worf. It has to be about Worf. There has to be a moment where DS9 is in there and he meets up with Kira, who's running the station. And I just want to show you what my pitch was. This is from, I don't know how many months ago. This is from mid last year, so take a look at this. Hello and welcome to Boatwreck. My name is PJ, and today I'm taking the Tex-Trek Create a Trek Challenge, where I pitch my idea for a new Star Trek television series. Now, mine is called Star Trek The Next Phase. It stars Michael Dorn as Captain Worf of the new Enterprise F, equipped with the phase-shifting cloaking technology first seen in the Season 7 Next Generation episode, The Pegasus. Now, at the time, that kind of thing was illegal because of the Treaty of Alderaan. Has something to do with the Romulan War, but it was signed in good faith, and the Federation was going to uphold that. And of course, Picard at the end of the episode exposes Riker's old captain, whose name escapes me, even though I just saw the episode like 2 days ago. So the Federation is at a point now where, the Treaty of Alderaan is irrelevant. I'm sorry, the Romulans are in no position to enforce it, and the Federation has changed, as we've seen in Star Trek Picard. So let's get into the crew. Okay, Worf is the captain. First officer is Ezri Dax. The second officer is a founder called Ebb. And there's also a Romulan science officer named Partek. I don't really know the personalities of these people. I'm just thinking of characters. Putting a lot of fan service in there because Geordie LaForge is the chief engineer. And his apprentice is Lieutenant Molly O'Brien. And Julian Bashir is the chief medical officer and ex-husband to Ezri. And we also have Soji from Star Trek Picard as a helmsman helmsperson, and she's going to be very useful. So their mission is to go to the Gamma Quadrant to seek out new life and new civilizations. Just that simple. The phase-shifting technology, the cloaking the ship will be used for stealth purposes when needed, but the phase-shifting, like moving through solid matter, which the Enterprise F is fully capable of doing. By the way, I'm calling it a Zenith class. I know, like Odyssey class, Enterprise F exists in beta canon. This is not that, although I wouldn't mind it looking like the beta canon Enterprise F. So before they get to the Gamma Quadrant, they have to go to the Bajoran wormhole, and DS9 is still there, and it's under the command of Kira Nerys. And Kira Nerys has a visual communication where she warns Ezri and Worf that a species called the Unyul are kind of running amok in the Gamma Quadrant. They're not that big of a threat yet, but their dominance is growing, and they're a far advanced non-humanoid species. Basically, I picture them as tall, skinny giants with really round golf ball-like heads, big insect-like eyes, and little mouths with like really sharp teeth. Kira warns Worf, hey, you got to watch out for these guys, you know. And Worf's like, hey, the Enterprise is prepared to defend itself if need be, but we will not be the aggressor. I think the first few episodes of this show would be very episodic, not really connected in a lot of ways, not really leading up to anything, but it is them establishing relations with a species that wants to join the Federation probably, or helping in a situation very TNG style. But then they run into the Unyul, and they come across a race or a sector even, that's begging Starfleet for help, and the Enterprise is there. They get caught up in some kind of battle, and one thing leads to another, and it's war. And the Enterprise finds that it has to call for backup on top of team up with other species in the Gamma Quadrant to say, you know, we gotta stop this bully in the neighborhood. The stakes don't have to be like totally galactic, like the Unyul are gonna rule the Gamma Quadrant and then everywhere else. Therefore, it's just that they're like an asshole gang going out and expanding their territory because, and this is the motivation for the Unyul, is that their species was very pacifist, very technologically advanced, very much kept to themselves. But being pacifists, they were kind of almost wiped out a few times. And now the newer generations, especially since the 20 plus years since the Dominion War, the younger generations now reject the ways of their ancestors. If a good analogy would be like, it's like the Vulcans becoming the Romulans. I would like to see a scene with Patrick Stewart, LeVar Burton, and Michael Dorn on the Enterprise E, just one last visit before they take it wherever they take it. Right before they go on the Enterprise F, and Card gets the tour. He's there to see Soji off. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But this phase shifting technology, when they get caught in all this stuff and having to use it, of course, when they do have to use it, it will be known. Like, oh, look at this! Look at what they're doing. This is why it's not being really advertised that this kind of technology exists now on ships, and Enterprise is basically the first one that's eventually going to be using it openly. But it's not really a thing that they're yelling and screaming about. But perhaps when the Unyul see this technology, they may want to take advantage of it, and that could be a problem for Worf. I don't know, I just want it to end peacefully. I don't want the battle to become an all-out war that threatens like the whole galaxy or anything like that. So that's my pitch for a Star Trek show, Star Trek The Next Phase, about Worf commanding an Enterprise F equipped with phase-shifting cloaking technology. And they're exploring the Gamma Quadrant and meeting a few new aliens we haven't seen before. But we're going to see, Cardassian with a, on the same ship as an android, on the same ship as a Romulan, a Trill. Yeah. I'm really thinking in terms of like if this was like a budgeted thing, like that interaction between Kira and Worf, I imagine like, okay, don't build the whole station. Just build the office so you can have that on-screen communication and you can just see the exterior of DS9. Just like with the Enterprise E, okay, they go and visit the Enterprise E, but they're not like walking through the hallways or anything. We just rebuild the bridge or even just a section of it. And you'd put all the money into the Enterprise F set. I mean, it's like big, spacious, almost very reminiscent of the motion picture where you got some areas like the recreation room where there were more open spaces, especially that conference room where the entire crew is standing there and they're watching that big screen of V'ger engulfing the space station. So yeah, I have to end this at some point. So I want to thank Fathery and Dave at Tex-Trek for giving me this challenge and sparking my imagination and making me think about this kind of stuff. I know this video was very rambly, but I thank you for watching, and live long and prosper. WandaVision. Alright, it's time to talk about WandaVision Episode 4 in no detail at all, because you can't really say anything or you're going to spoil it. So all I'll say about this episode, and please don't spoil it in the comments, which you're probably not going to, I don't know. Has anybody been talking about WandaVision here? Oh, well, you have. There are comments about WandaVision. Nice. So, the best thing about WandaVision Episode 4 is answers. You get answers. Yeah, I think I have WandaVision spelled wrong. It's WandaVision. Yeah, I'm just going to take that off the screen. But yeah, can't really say much about the episode except for answers. Answers. And wow, it's the best episode so far. And you really got to watch it weekly now. You can't say I'll wait till the end because everybody's just going to spoil everything for you. So just get on the bandwagon if you have Disney Plus. Okay? Just please. The next thing we're going to talk about is a Siskel and Ebert segment from 1990. It's a special that they did where they interviewed directors like Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, and George Lucas. And it's about the future of movies. And there was a very interesting segment where they go into talking about HD TVs. Now, this is way back in 1990. Now, the volume may be a little bit low on this because it's a very old clip, but just check this out.
Years, you might be trading in your old TV for a new set, high-definition television. Television's new wave will feature a widescreen format and a picture more than twice as good as today's sets can provide. Add in a large screen, and in terms of picture impact, the home TV experience will approach even real movies in a theater.
This is what your average television looks like, and the picture on it is made when lines of electronic information are sent back and forth across the screen. But even though the picture looks fine, there's something in it you can't see unless you get a close-up of the screen. There are lines of black in this picture, and they will someday be filled in to make a more clear, more perfect image. Along with that high-definition image, your television shape will change in the future to a widescreen format. A widescreen shaped more like a movie theater screen. Experimental high-def televisions are on display around the world right now, and some of their screens are very large with very good images. If you add a good sound system, well, some people may never want to go to a movie theater again. And all of our directors are wondering what this new technology might mean for the art of film.
HDTV really comes into this country. It's going to take this country by force. First of all, the people who can afford it will buy it, and later the sets will get cheaper, and that's going to compete theatrically, because the pictures are going to be as clear almost in your home as 35mm movies. And that's when we might have to start thinking about a different kind of formatting of the motion picture experience. You know, larger theaters, bigger screens, first and foremost, better stories. If people begin to have high-definition television in their homes so that they can look at a television picture or a home video or a movie of a video movie on a screen that is 10 feet wide, and they have surround sound, in fact, the home PHX surround sound system. Right. What, if anything, are you going to do to encourage them to feel that they still have to go out of their home to see your movies in first run?
Well, I think the marketplace will shift dramatically in that situation. I think certain kinds of movies will be made directly for the home, and certain kind of movies will be made for a theater presentation. No matter how you get around it, the theater presentation is a group experience. And there is something very magical about the group experience that you cannot duplicate in the home unless you invite, 500 of your closest friends in.
Do you think in the age of high-definition television that theatrical movies will tend to be more spectacular, or?
I think the larger, more spectacular ones will end up in the theaters, and the more personal ones will end up on the screen. But you have to look 10, 20 years ahead and say, well, I know for a fact that they will have video to the quality of the best film that we have today. It may not get up there with show scan or some of the really high-tech stuff, but, the normal 35 millimeter image will definitely be available on video, I think, before the 21st century.
Now, wasn't that fascinating? Way back in 1990, talking about HD TVs. I didn't even know they were, invented back then. I remember vaguely watching that as a kid, because as a kid I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert, and didn't always agree with one or the other, or both of them sometimes, and sometimes the reviews of movies that I loved as a kid kind of crushed me a little bit, and I kind of took it personal, but I still watched them. I still love those guys. But growing up, I just love going back and watching all the reviews. It's just fantastic. All right. Well, I'm just going to move on to the next subject, and that is Superman. There's a new Superman show coming out on the CW called Superman and Lois. And it looks like it has money, and I think it's filmed in widescreen and all this stuff. So I didn't really like Tyler Hoechlin in Supergirl. I don't like his Superman in the CW as he was. But the show looks different. It looks more mature. But talking about Superman, there's a documentary I'd like to recommend called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. And it's about the Superman film that Kevin Smith was commissioned to write in the 90s. That was going to star Nicolas Cage and was going to be directed by Tim Burton. Now, you can probably look up the I don't know if the movie's available on YouTube or not, but you can probably look up the trailer. There's a way to get it. You go directly to the source. John Schnepp passed away in 2018, and back in the day I used to do these little compilation videos of him just being silly and random, and just right now I just want to play one of those for you. If you don't know anything about John Schnepp, take a look at this, and maybe you might want to look him up and find out more about him, because he worked on shows like Metalocalypse and other shows, but yeah, he's a great guy, and may he rest in peace.
That's the eat. He's waking up. Yeah, what's that sound? Eat. Like Windows. Dump truck of millions of dollars. All right, I'll do it. Wave gets on the surfboard of money. That's just
That's my dream right there.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to Greengrass. He's like, I'll never. Yes, accept that. Yeah, Swiss bank account. This weird Hummer. Just blow it up for no reason. All right, I'll do it. I loved her feeling up Megan Fox. That was one of my favorites.
Can I?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Why did you like that one?
Because women always do that. Let me just, that's right. Women always do that, so it was nice to finally see that in the film.
Not a lot of people know this, but Schnepp and I do that off screen quite often. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just do that
cool?
to each other. Yeah.
We do it to each other's butts.
But it's totally cool.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to comment on that one.
I do like it, but I was retitling it Cocaine Planet.
Okay.
Deep Throat was a movie that transformed a lot of people. I myself was touched by the movie. And I can't. I mean, I
Great,
think
great choice of words.
You know, seeing birds hanging out talking just makes me want to throw up. I didn't see the first Rio just simply because of that.
Tell us
So
how you really feel.
So the second Rio, animated style or not, you know, I got to say the trailer, if you watch it, the funniest part is that Black Panther, you know, almost vomiting out those birds singing. So that made me laugh. Something that had to do with vomit.
Dennis?
The only thing I've ever tried to buy is the moon. And I talked to the people who own the moon, and I was like, look, I will give you $10 trillion. Excuse me, Dennis. You can find me on Twitter at John Schnepp.
Hey, I'm going to wait until there's 5 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then I'm going to binge on it, and that's what I'm looking forward to. It's a giant sandwich.
Look, Chrysalis is keeping us apart.
It's going to be a good show.
What's going on? I'm here in America, guys. Campia! Where are you?
For me, it's a buy. And I just want them to subtitle Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man 3, F you, fans. You know, it's sort of like, yeah, I guess we did Star Trek Into Darkness. I'll check it out. Spider-Man 3, what's up?
Like, yeah, you could just go through like, hey, Jason Statham could play Lex Luthor.
Goodness.
Or what about Bruce
The Rock.
Willis? Bruce Willis and The Rock. Or like put all their 3 other heads together. We are Lex Luthor. You know, 3 heads. A form of maximization of exploitation across the world globally. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a robot. I'm really excited about it. If they made a series,
Yeah.
they could always kind of go like super weird and like have Walt Disney's like cryogenically frozen head. Like, here is a tale from my past, Tales of Disney. Like, just go a little like Tales from the Dark Side, you know, Tales from the Crypt, but have Disney's floating head reactivated by a bunch of like by Mickey Mouse maybe. And he's like, you know, creator, tell us of the stories of your time. Yeah, maybe that's a bad idea, guys.
I
Don't
have a
listen to
story
me.
for
Yeah.
you, son.
Yeah. Start phase A. So you already have like phase 1, 2, and 3. Now begin phase A,
Phase A.
which is like a complete reboot of the Avengers, but it's a comedy world universe. So it's like Dumb and Dumber, but with the Avengers. So that's phase A. And then immediately follow that with phase 1.1.
Yeah.
And that's like a hard, like kind of gritty, weird, like Frank Miller world, but it's the Avengers. So you just start making all these variant worlds and just start, hey, we got Splinter Spider-Man, only it's Carnage. Just starts out as Carnage. We don't even know why. So that's one weird way to do it, right, guys?
And they should start really soon, right?
You should start tomorrow,
Right.
I think.
You think you're better than everybody
I
else?
guess I'm kind of floating on my own cloud. Hey, look, Warner Brothers, come at me. I'm ready to rock some stuff. Marvel, you know where I'm at. Bring it. I'm right here.
Hey, just don't breathe too close to me, Dennis. He's still sick. He was like, hey, playing Little Death Star. Hey, hey, is what he was just doing. I was like, hey, man, ease up, ease up. Some nerd at Midtown Comics is like, oh my God, look, it's official. It's not. Where Spock's like, Khan. That's what I think really rubbed Trekkies wrong. because they were-
I loved it.
I loved it because it was
they
were like,
flipped it.
I can't believe they even used the same dialogue. It's like, I know, wasn't that awesome? They're like, no,
I don't have a video game player.
I'm going to buy it with one caveat that he is just all red and he's just a horrible surreal vision of nightmarish qualities throughout the entire movie. Like the main character just like, it's like Marnie. Like, I don't know. I think Clifford's right around here.
Sing it with me. Give me the feeling.
Someone's going to make a meme out of that, by the way.
Right.
And they were like, look, we just have too many blue people. So we just gotta get rid of one of them.
Clearing my throat. Ready to sing some more Eddie Vedder. I'm going to go cry in a corner now.
All right, that was John Schnepp. Now we're going to take a look at a clip from Starfleet Boy After Dark. Be prepared, because we're talking about Wonder Woman. And just to set up this clip, Starfleet Boy was so drunk he didn't realize that Diana and Steve had sex in the movie, and he forgot all about it. And we're just kind of poking fun at Starfleet Boy. God bless him.
When you're watching a movie and it shows a man and a woman wake up in bed next to each other and neither one of them is wearing a shirt, that means that they had sex the night before.
It wasn't a sleepover.
Isn't it funny when she finds him and she realizes who he is, and it's like so quickly to the sex. Like it's not even like.
But that's how it would be, right? Like that's how it should be.
But she doesn't really question it too much, and I was like, shouldn't you be a little more skeptical?
Yeah, totally. Like she lives in a world where there's so many like magical deceptions and things that like could like alter her mind or try to attack her by like, you know, being tricksy or something. So the fact that she just like goes along with it is
PJ, are you trying
weird.
to slut shame me, PJ? Are you trying to say I went too quickly to bed with the Steve Trevor? Huh? Is that what you're trying to say, PJ? Because it's not that, okay? And even if it was, it wouldn't matter, okay?
Why don't you go pack up your tits and go back to Themyscira? Yeah. So that was Starfleet Boy After Dark. And, yeah, go check that out tonight, because we've been doing that almost every Friday night for a number of weeks now, and most times it goes pretty well. My favorite part about last week was that we did a reading from Ghostbusters, and I got to play the douchebag who wants to like shut down the Ghostbusters, so that was fun. We're going to end this. I want to thank everybody for being here and supporting me in this weird endeavor. I don't know if I'll be doing this again, but it's been interesting. I'm going to leave it off with a little music video. The song is by a guy from Australia named Mike Anderson, who has a band called Strange Juice. And before he made his own official video for this song, I made a video for him using clips from an old Canadian film called The Adventure of Faustus Biggood, and the song is called Colorblind.
The season's icicles bloom like flowers.